You are listening to a podcast of the Geek I Media Network. For all of our shows and more, visit geek-io.net. And to help support the network, head over to patreon.com/geekio.
Hello, gentle listener. While Geek I holds its talent to the highest standards, what follows will likely involve the sort of language usually reserved for sailors on leave. If you're of a delicate disposition, then perhaps you would consider a different podcast.
Want to keep the conversation alive once we go off air? Join our Discord over at geek-io.net/discord. This is the Generic Live Show.
Yes, indeed! Hello, friends, and welcome to this very special Generic Live Show. I'm Dale. No, I'm not going to do that. So, this is episode number 124 for a Generic Live Show on May 13th, 2018. Happy Mother's Day to everybody around the world, even if it is not currently Mother's Day, or it used to be Mother's Day, or whatever. Remember, before I get too far into the news, remember we have a pre-show. It's a real fun. We had a real fun bit. I was joined by the normal Dale and Raul, and or Dale's ghost, depending on what he wanted to say. And we talked about something real cool and real funny. We all had a blast. So make sure you go over to patreon.com/geekio to make sure that you can get the pre-show for this show and everything else that we do on the Geek I Network. But, friends, we are not here just to talk about me. I'm going to have some fun with you guys today. We are going to be talking some politics because I was a little worried when I was making the show notes a couple of weeks ago. Thinking nothing had happened, and then everything, and then the world's like, hold my beer. So we're gonna have some fun, and then we're gonna get deep. We're gonna talk about an Arizona GOP hyper-conservative finding out what a fursona is. We are gonna talk about the most messed up ad in this current spectrum. Political ads. They're fun, and then they're not. We are going to talk about, sadly, some real sad news coming out of Australia. Since Dale's not here, I had to include Australia still. I wish it was fun news, but it is not. It makes me real sad that it is not. However, it is what it is, and we'll get discussions about that. We are going to talk about Animal Kingdom, because I can't be on a show with news and not talk about Disney. We are going to talk about a couple Florida Man stories, and then possibly the biggest deal of the last couple of weeks, the Iranian nuclear deal and the U.S.'s take on it. So let's start off a little bit funny, you guys. We are going to begin talking. I'm going to play more bumpers than Dale does, because this is what I do. And
on to the news!
Yes, indeed, friends. Let us begin by an Arizona lawmaker finding out what a furry is. Yes! Oh, God bless it. So, we begin, and we read from the Arizona Central. What started out as a Twitter debate over education erupted on Friday after giving Representative Kelly Townsend her own fursona, a cartoon-like anthropomorphic version of herself, courtesy of a freelancer familiar with the furry community. What's a furry? Well, let's give scientists a say. The International Anthropomorphic Research Project, a team of IARP, a team of social scientists studies furries and their fandom. The group says furries and fans of the media. This is real hard to read on this screen. This is why I only have two screens. All right. Anthropomorphism is the attribution of human traits, emotions, and intentions of non-human entities such as animals. Furries' interest in anthropomorphized animals such like Cat in the Hat, Winnie the Pooh, Sonic the Hedgehog, or Pokemon often includes dressing up in animal costumes. Popular films with anthropomorphic animals include Zootopia or Zootropolis, Madagascar, Robin Hood, and many, many more. Now back to Representative Townsend. So all right, so we're going to skip ahead to how she actually got her fursona. We begin with how this is. So basically, she made the bad mistake of saying, why is the leader for Red for Ed calling out Red for Ed, which is a walkout protest in Arizona, wearing red shirts for education. A fellow furry, or maybe public education is a socialist concept after a lifetime of trying to get it to work within capitalism. We'd rather give democratic socialism a try. Teachers are progressive. We don't need to be tricked into being progressive. Representative Townsend responds, well, there it is. And a follow-up to that is, imagine going through all the trouble to get elected, only to be schooled, to be elected by the state legislature of Arizona, only to get logically destroyed by a furry. A furry? One may ask, what is indeed a furry? Please educate me on what a furry is. So, of course, friends, the famous, what is this? And furries have a very, 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 as you see the immediate response, I'm so sorry about what's about to happen to you. The furry community is very, very outspoken and kind of takes shots at those who are not familiar with them. I have some pretty lines here. Oh, here's my new fursona, Fursuit Friday. Is a pretty lioness here, she says. So she instead of taking it like shots, and the internet community was actually pretty gentle on her, surprisingly. The back and forth of it was actually giving her a lot of feedback on what it was and showing and telling her what it was, and she actually kind of bent a little bit. Of course, the alt communities like this tend to be a lot more left-leaning, and this person is a very Representative Townsend is a very outspoken conservative leader in the Arizona House of Representatives, leading finally to her own fursona. And there it is in all of its majesty, her Fursuit Friday. As a working artist, given to her by meta_artist, Chaka Pony Tarot on Twitter. As a working artist, normally I would charge for this art, but since you genuinely seem curious about getting a fursona, this is a freebie. Remember, the teachers are an educational foundation for America's youth, and they deserve better work, or better pay for their hard work. Alex said he initially didn't look into Townsend's stance on Red for Ed, but felt compelled to make an original art for Townsend to send a message about education when she began pulling work from other artists for her fursona. I think at this point she was posting art that did not belong to her, and in the artist community that is a very big no-no, Alex said. I thought that she seemed very sincere about it, so I just decided to do it for fun. Just before Arizona's legislature on Thursday passed a budget that included nearly $273 million meant for giving cuts, including that, by the way. Townsend pushed several amendments. One amendment would have outlawed school closures. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to where I am approximately. I'm reading on a different screen. I apologize. One amendment would have outlawed school closures. Another would have enabled complaints from lawmakers to spur an investigation of school districts by the Attorney General. And the third would have prohibited teachers from disseminating political ideology in their classrooms. All three were defeated. Despite her stance on the Red for Ed movement, Townsend liked the artwork so much that she asked to pay for her fursona. One Twitter user questioned whether Townsend would ever ask the internet for help again. Best day in months, she said. So she learned a great deal about an alt community, but it didn't exactly help her in the long run. So here's to you, Representative Townsend, on being open but still closed at the same time. Surprisingly, unable to get your crap together on that end. So, we go back to me. So, political news is big. And West Virginia, you may not have known, because if you don't follow the West Virginia elective, you may not have known that they have had a pretty major and really, really hard-fought GOP primary. Some of you who follow news may get the name Don Blankenship. For those who don't know Don Blankenship, he is a coal baron. There's no other word for it. He ran several coal mines, and up until literally Tuesday of last week, he was on probation for after his release from prison. After he spent a year in prison, being culpable for a mine accident that killed 27 people. And on top of that, he was put on probation and was literally released from that probation on Tuesday with the election going on that Tuesday. Now, why am I talking about this, considering I'm not from West Virginia or anything along those lines? It's because it's funny. He put out a really, really hilarious ad, of which we will play now.
Don Blankenship, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
So I do want to point out first, before we get any further, when you it first is in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, pro-life candidate, lifetime NRA member. And
Trump Captain Mitch McConnell has created millions of jobs
you know
for China people. While doing so, Mitch has
I'm sorry. What did you say there, Mr. Blankenship? We didn't quite hear you over my loud mouth.
millions of jobs for China people. While doing so,
I'm sorry. One more time, please.
Swamp Captain Mitch McConnell has created millions of jobs for China people. While doing so,
China people! China people. And it only gets better from there. It only gets better from there. We continue.
Mitch has gotten rich. In fact, his China family has given him tens of millions of
China family. We'll get to how wrong this is here in just a moment.
dollars. Mitch's swamp people are now running false negative ads against me. They are also childishly calling me despicable and mentally ill. The war to drain the swamp and create jobs for West Virginia people has begun. I will beat Joe Manchin and ditch Cocaine Mitch for the sake of the kids.
Cocaine Mitch! Yes, this is the Cocaine Mitch guy. All right, so for those who don't know, all right, so I am an unabashed liberal, by the way. Don't ever get my head on this one. However, okay, this guy is running in West Virginia, by the way. West Virginia is not Kentucky, where Mitch McConnell is indeed from. Mitch McConnell is the Speaker of the House, Senate Majority Leader, sorry. And he's from Kentucky, by the way, Kentucky. So this numbskull Tom Blankenship says, you know, his China family and these China people. So this came out to the point where, all right, so he also says West Virginia people. So maybe he just does, you know, living people, you know, where people live and putting the word people after it. Maybe that's what he does. But no, I say to thee, because Mitch McConnell does not have a China family. He is married to a lovely woman named Elaine Chao. And she's Taiwanese. Yes, Taiwanese. So, so maybe living people is it, but no, he is flat out getting China people, and she's Taiwanese. But no, why would this Cocaine Mitch thing come up, you ask? Thank you for asking, loud-voiced me. It is because her family's shipping company, her Taiwanese family shipping company got pulled over and got investigated, and there were seven counts of found cocaine in the shipping in the shipments. So yeah, so there was a lot of cocaine in there, and it's real bad. We understand that, right? Everybody understands that. We're all good there. All right. So yeah, so there was some crap taken over. But he just went further with that by calling him Cocaine Mitch. By the way, Mitch McConnell owning it, answering the phone Cocaine Mitch for 2 weeks straight after this aired. He did record a follow-up ad that I thought I had pulled up, but I did not. I will see if I can pull it up really quick. I have not been doing so great on that really here recently, because things have just been exploding. He put out a radio ad afterwards trying to I guess prove that he is not a fragrant racist. Hold on, this is great to do. Why didn't that pull up when I searched for it? All right, here we go. Here this is. This is his...
Did you know that Don Blankenship's trial was not about the...
Not that one. Hold on.
Evan Jenkins' TV ad should make many West Virginians angry.
Nope. Hold on.
Evan Jenkins' TV ad...
Still no.
Eye on races to watch out.
Nope. Oh, man. I can't find it. Hold on. I got this. It's real funny. Trust me. Is it this one? It might be this one. Hold on. Wait for it. It's worth it. Trust me. This is hilarious. Just trust me on this one.
This is Don Blankenship, candidate for U.S. Senate. The establishment politicians are getting desperate and more hostile. They are calling me a bigot, a moron, a despicable character, and mentally ill. But even if all of this is true...
He's not disagreeing with them, by the way.
I will do a better job than they have done. They have resorted to this childish name-calling because they don't want us to focus on the issues. The issues are that we need more West Virginia jobs, we need to end the drug crisis, and we need an honest government. We do not need more childish behavior like you may have witnessed at the Fox debate. The fake news is also pretending to be offended by my use of the words China people. They seem not to realize that China is a country, not a race. The establishment has given millions of our jobs to China people and left many West Virginia people to fend for themselves. Send me to the Senate, and I will represent West Virginia people, not China people. I am an America person, and I will put America first. Paid for by Don Blankenship for U.S. Senate.
So that is his follow-up to that. So he never disagreed with them about being mentally ill, by the way. I'm just pointing that out there. But he just continues to hammer on this China people thing. And so, again, Mitch McConnell, America person. Yes, I am an America person. This is so dumb. I love it. I love his stupid shit. It's hilarious. He obviously didn't win, but in going into the election, of course, as they are wont to do, you have the big wigs kind of throwing their hat behind things. So first, we go to Donald Trump Jr., by the way, basically saying, don't elect this guy. He's dangerous, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. By the way, I have never agreed with Donald Trump Jr. more in my life. But then, not only that, then he fought back with that one. He fought back and had a nice big Twitter war with them. And then the big papa came into things Donald Trump Sr., Mr. T, came into this throwing down the gauntlet of, I want to get the direct quote because you don't misquote the president, because that's not a good way of doing things. I don't agree with him, but you know. So to the great people of West Virginia, we have together a really great chance to keep making a big difference, tweeted Trump. Problem is, Don Blankenship, currently running for Senate, can't win the general election in your state. No way! Remember Alabama. Vote Rep. Jenkins or AG Monterey. By the way, he came third in a third-person race by a long run. Again, I want to bring out to the Cocaine Mitch side of things, because, again, Mitch McConnell didn't really have anything involved in this. I go now to the Daily Dot. Mitch McConnell, after Don Blankenship loses, thanks for playing, Don! And he photoshopped his face over Narcos, dude from Narcos, covered in cocaine, exploding cocaine everywhere. I can't stand him, but I'm so glad. Like, sometimes you just gotta, humor is on both sides of the aisle, friends. Humor is on both sides of the aisle. So, yes, Don Blankenship lost horribly. He's still, by the way, throwing his quote-unquote weight around. And, yeah, we'll have that forever. Now he's saying that he's putting all of his money behind not getting the GOP electorate. He'd rather have Joe Manchin. By the way, if that's not the most I relate to you fellow young people, and this is a Democrat, by the way, then Joe Manchin, his real name. So, all right. So those two were fun, and I'm going to hate to bring it down a little bit here. We have some real sad news, and I'm not even being facetious with this one. Go away, Cocaine Mitch. We're busy. We have big people talking to do. So I brought this up mainly because of it being a Australia story, but also because there was some weird international backlash to this. So we go now to News 9, Australia. 7 dead in what may be Australia's worst mass shooting in 22 years. This takes place in Canberra, Australia. 7 people were found dead with gunshot wounds at a property near a tourist town of Margaret River in Australia's southwest. In Australia's southwest on Friday, in what could be the country's worst mass shooting in 22 years, police said. The bodies of 2 adults were found outside a building on the property, and the rest were found inside. They all resided at the property, he said. Police have no information on what to raise concerns about wider public safety. Police were led to the property by a phone call before dawn, Dawson said. He would not comment on the possibility of the murder-suicide or the identity of the caller. Now, I bring this... police are currently responding to what I can only describe as a horrible incident, Dawson told reporters. This devastating tragedy will no doubt have a lasting impact on families concerned, the whole community, and particularly local communities in our Southwest, he added. Police were attempting to make contact with the victims' relatives. Dawson said he declined to release the names or ages of the dead. This could be the worst mass shooting in Australia since a lone gunman... Thanks for auto-popping. Killed 35 in the Tasmania state in 1996, prompting the nation to introduce tough gun controls. Australia's gun laws are widely acclaimed as a success, with supporters, including former President Barack Obama, saying Australia hasn't had a single mass shooting since they were implemented. The generally accepted definition of a mass shooting includes the four deaths, excluding the shooter in a single event, have only been met once in Australia since then. In 2014, a farmer shot his wife and 3 children, including him, and before killing himself. Police have revealed very few details about the recent killings, and it isn't clear whether there was more than one shooter. Farmers are allowed to own guns under Australian law because they have a legitimate need to use them to kill feral pests and predators or sick and injured livestock. But automatic and semi-automatic rifles and shotguns are banned from public ownership. After passing the tough gun laws, Australia bought back or confiscated over 1 million firearms, the Reuters news agency reports. So I bring this up not as a, haha, we had fun here, let's talk about something serious, but because there actually was a very odd backlash to this in the internet community. So when your thought processes are first, only 7 people, and the second, 22 years, that is something kind of very drastically, there's a disconnect there. The human lives that were lost in this are a tragedy beyond measure. And then your pushback of, hey, we shouldn't, something, guns, supporting, whatever. It's not good at all. Like when the alt-right especially were pushing back on this, citing, hey, this proves that they don't work. Again, 22 years. I want to point out here, death in industry, gun homicides total. And last released numbers were in 2016, according to gunpolicy.org. 42 deaths in 2016, 27 in 2015, 31 in 2014, 35 in 2013. That is straight homicides in Australia over the last several years. I now go to homicides in the United States. In 2010, there were 11,078 firearm-related homicides in the United States of America, comparing to the 39 in Australia. I didn't want to talk about this. I really didn't want to talk about this, and I really only brought this up because it kind of brings a spotlight onto a fact that that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to think about, 7 people losing their lives. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that it was 22 years between the last mass shooting and this one. I want to focus more on the human lives at stake here, and that Australia has a focus on protecting its human lives, farmers being allowed to own guns because they need them, because, Australia has a lot of evil beasts, you guys. This may come as a surprise to you, but everything in Australia is trying to kill you, says the person who is willingly going to Australia in less than a month. I don't want to put too much onto this, and because we're edging up on the hour, I didn't think that I would get as much enjoyment out of Don Blankenship that I would. It's a sad day. It is a horrible day. No call out, by the way, from any of the right. We've had some coming out from the left. President Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama. Hold on, what? I'm going to have to shut off my camera here really quick. Bear with me. Go ahead. Former President Barack Obama brought up, his condolences to Australia. And again, this is a different show because I'm a different person. I'm a much more political person than Dale is. I'm a lot more involved in the political community. In fact, I actually put in my application to run for local office here because I am a highly community-focused person and everything like that. So I'm very much so in the arena. Gun laws are the loss of human life like this. While I'm okay with it being politicized, and I think it should be, your first thought should not be, oh, only 7 people, LOL, get good, Australia. By the way, I've seen that. Don't search Reddit for these things. It is... Guns are a tool, and they're useful for a tool. You'll never hear me say that they're not useful for a tool. But it's not something that really should be taken lightly like that. It's ridiculous that things should be taken lightly like that. So we go now from horrible deaths, and I indeed actually give all of my thoughts and prayers legitimate to those people in Australia who lost their lives. And I honestly hope that we can come together on some kind of mutual thing in the United States to prevent these kind of things happening every other Tuesday. So, who's ready for some eye bleach? You guys, who's ready for some eye bleach? I bring to you cute baby zebras. We have baby zebras, Grevy's Zebra Foals join the herd at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Published on May 3rd, 2018. Today we're celebrating and seeing stripes. Disney Animal Kingdom is delighted to announce the births of two female Grevy's zebra foals originating from Africa. Grevy zebras are the most endangered species of zebra, with approximately only 2,500 existing in the world. The first foal born on April 26th to Laylee, the second born on May 1st to Zuri. Currently, the foals are nursing and boarding with their moms backstage. All will join the herd on Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail overlooked soon. The zebra's births mark another success for Disney's animal care experts and the species survival plan, a program through the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and helps ensure a diverse, healthy population of threatened and endangered species. The zebra foals are making an important contribution towards the worldwide conservation and understanding of the Grevy's species, which will help ensure a future generation for these endangered animals. Our commitment to the care and conservation of the Grevy's zebras goes beyond our park through the Imperial Spices Species Conservation Project, ISCP, which gives our cast the opportunity to personally support the species that they love through existing conservation programs. Disney has made contributions towards the care and protection of Grevy zebras in the wild. Recently, 2 of our zebra keepers traveled to Kenya through the ISCP to participate in the Great Grevy's Rally, a population survey used to document the total number of Grevy zebras in the wild. The conservation work our cast has contributed with Grevy zebras is just the beginning. Later this year, several cast members will travel across the world to support endangered animals such as painted dogs, dolphins, gorillas, Guam rails and kingfishers, rhinos, sharks, and vultures. Our cast is the most valuable resource we have in delivering on world-class animal care and conservation. It makes us proud to see our cast making a difference, developing stronger interaction and partnering skills, and sharing their experiences with our guests. You can learn more about the zebras and Disney's efforts to reverse the decline of at-risk animals by visiting DisneyAnimals.com. So, yes, I want to then bring up, because there are reasons why I'm focusing on the Disney news. We're going to go next to more happiness, kicking off summer at Disney World. After wrapping up the NBA regular season, this is, for those who didn't know, Orlando Magic players kick off summer at Disney's Blizzard Beach water park. After wrapping up a NBA regular season, a handful of Orlando Magic players recently enjoyed a refreshing day at one of the coolest spots in Walt Disney World, Disney's Blizzard Beach water park. Magic players DJ Augustine, Shelvin Mack, and Terrence Ross visited the ski resort-themed water park with their families and got their summer off to a splashing start. We now play the video, which you guys can't hear. I definitely don't know if you can hear that. It's all right. There's not a lot going on into that one. It's just music. As you can see, there's fun for all ages at Blizzard Beach. I've never been to Blizzard Beach, by the way. We now quickly talk about Blizzard Beach. I've never been to Blizzard Beach. I've never been to any of the Disney water parks, and I cannot wait to go. I'm hoping to go this year with Dale when he's here in August for Dragon Con, because our annual Disney trip. I want to go. I've never been, and I really, really, really want to go. It's a thing that I've not actually had the experience of doing, and I cannot wait to get there. Finishing up a little early because I didn't want to continuously hammer on. Fine. You know what? We're gonna give you guys a quick We go to a quick search to give you a sneak peek of what is going to be happening on the next side of the break. We go now to ABC Action News in Winter Haven, Florida. That's right, y'all. Second half of this show, minus the last big story, is dedicated to everybody's favorite superhero, a Florida Man. That's right, we have Florida Man joining us on the second half of the show. Florida Man! We go now to Winter Haven, Florida, where a Central Florida man is accused of hiding his legless fugitive girlfriend from police by stuffing her into a plastic storage container. I can't make this shit up. Thank you, Florida, for being Florida-tastic. We go now to the Associated Press. As it loads slowly. Go away, zebras. Hunger cowies. Yes, indeed. This is the Florida man at question, and this is his girlfriend. 48-year-old, or aren't they always? Robert Carr Jr. of Winter Haven is charged with resisting arrest. News outlets report Carr attempted to hide his 39-year-old Crystal Lee... attempted to hide 39-year-old Crystal Lee Anderson from U.S. Marshals and Polk County Sheriffs on Tuesday. Anderson was wanted for failing to appear in court on charges including false imprisonment related to a 2015 incident where she allegedly held people hostage at a Burger King with a BB gun. It ended in shooting with police, and she lost both her legs. Authorities received a tip that Anderson was with Carr. He denied Anderson was there, but an officer had spotted Carr placing a now 4-foot-tall woman into a container. She surrendered without incident. From the Lakeland Ledger in Florida. Yes, indeed, folks. That is something you have to look ahead of for the Florida people. Continuing our Don Blankenship goodness for next episode, or for next hour. We are going to take a bit of a break here. During the break, I'm going to keep us live. I'm going to take us off air really quick, just to separate it into hours, because that's fun and that's how I like to do things. So, without further ado, we begin. We now take our break. You are going to hear some songs during this break, of which I am not entirely sure of what they are, because I'm just going to hit our playlist on random. It'll be enjoyable, I promise. But we will see you guys here in about maybe 10 minutes after this break. I love you guys. This is CJ. This is, of course, your generic live show.
Hey,
Stay tuned.
She's great. Her gay friend is really cool too.